100%.
I just say get the idea, water the idea, feed that idea, start working with like-minded individuals, develop your network, and just have consistency. Bro, if you have consistency and you have even a mediocre
100%.
product, you will be successful.
100%.
Fuck an amazing product.
100%.
Even if your product is meaty, bro, mid, it will do well if you're consistent, because people just,
especially in this day and
people just
age,
rely on consistency.
Look how many rappers like we only know. People, damn! It's your boy Trist Rap City. I'm back with another episode of the Brand Therapy Podcast, where we discuss brands, business, and experiences in a therapeutic conversation. Now, you guys haven't seen me for a while. You can probably see that I'm a little bit more tanned and whatnot. You know what I mean? Yeah. Been in Dubai, back with my guy, which I'm going to talk about as well in a bit in regards to CEO Cast, because you know that's the guy behind the camera. However, one thing that is very, very important to me on this show, and I've said this multiple times with every guest, I want authentic conversations. I want people that if I saw them on the side of the road, I would stop to hold a conversation. People that I respect their journey, have seen their journey, authentic connections. Yeah, following and all that stuff's great, but if you got 20 followers and you're an amazing person, I'll probably sit down with you and have a conversation.
Word.
As you can see next to me, I've got my guy, Craig Ross Clark Mitch.
You say my guy.
Yeah?
You good?
Before we do all of the you good stuff, so something I'm big on, is giving people their flowers. And I think it's so important in this culture because a lot of us don't do it. Big shout out to Taze, last episode. Thank you to everyone. A lot of new subscribers that came from that. Bro, I don't even know like where to... I think I'd say the first part of your journey that I would have can remember seeing is a blog.
Okay.
I'll probably say you're probably one of the first free bloggers that I could. I'm talking like Milk and Two Sugar Times when Tiny had that blog. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bear in mind that this conversation is going to be very old school because I'm of that. I'm from that class.
No, I'm here for it.
I'd say from there to you and Suave.
Yep, Mitch and Suave.
Into That's a Rap Show.
Yep.
And then I think from That's a Rap Show, somewhere in between there, I got into my bag. So I lost a lot of touch of what was going on and then popped back up. And then I think I saw hella interviews. I think I can't even think of people it's more who haven't you interviewed. Hella interviews.
Yeah. It was that period.
Yeah, hella interviews. And very, very early on, what we're not going to have Mitch do today is be humble because trust me, trailblazer.
It's a humble thing still.
Bro, it's humble, but the stuff that the stuff you've done has definitely opened a lot of doors for things that we have now. And I don't think it's about being cocky. It's just about stating the reality. And that's what my show is big on. Like, we're here to make sure that people know that. And then from there, I would say the big thing I saw was just when you started kicking down the sports world. Yeah. And just went into
transition.
That lane. And I think the transition from my point of view was so respected because it takes a lot to transition. Also, because I realized now this is the personality rather than just a guy who can talk about music. And I think as time went along, I just saw a mindset behind it. Then to sort of fast track, as most situations go, hella mutual friends. Yeah. One of the main being Crit. So shout out my guy Critical.
Shout out Critical all day.
And I know he was a big part of your journey at the beginning as well.
Massive.
And then here we are, bro. Like the reason I reached out to you, as I say, so much respect for what you're doing, bro.
No, thank you.
So much respect for the brand, where the mindset's at. And yeah, bro, like talk to me. How you been? What's been going on in the world of Craig Mitch, man?
All good, man. All good. Like for me, I'd say like my 20s was about building myself as a broadcaster, trying to carve out some sort of career. Like obviously being born in Tottenham, growing up in Wood Green. Yeah. For me, even getting to the heights I've got to 100%. Now, and they're not lofty heights, but for me and where I was at when I was younger, where I've come now, I'm like, okay, sick. I've kind of accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. I've built that career. Yeah. Now my 30s is about building myself as an entrepreneur. So that's the next step for me, man. I want to be a business owner. I want to make sure I've got that, that longevity, that real long-term kind of wealth setup. Yeah. Because when we were just grinding it out, trying to figure out this presenting thing and trying to make something happen that we couldn't even see, we weren't thinking about money or the money management side of it or the business side of it. It was just like, I'm seeing my man on BBC, Reggie Yates or so-and-so. Yeah. I want to be there. I want to get there. I enjoy presenting. I want to do that. Now that we've kind of accomplished those things in some aspects, now it's about being a business owner. So that's where my head's at now, bro.
Two things that firstly, one thing that I've noticed that you do a lot is you separate what you've done and the, let's say, content creation, because I think that's a better title for it than presenting, and entrepreneurship. And the reason I love it is because I do think they are different. Like, even when we've had conversations, like when you say, even just now, when you said to me, like, being an entrepreneur, I'm thinking, but you're an entrepreneur, bro.
Yeah.
But what I do respect is that you understand, like, because the lines do blur. I think a lot of people do think, okay, I've got influence, so I can create content, so I can automatically have a successful business. Talk about that. Like, why is it you separate them so much?
I think because, like, branding yourself, because that's what I've done. I've branded myself as a person. So obviously, when you look at Craig Mitch is a brand. Craig Mitch is self-employed. Craig Mitch is a limited company, but that's Craig Mitch. I trade my skills or whatever it happens to be for currency.
Yeah.
I think trying to then say just because you can do that and you can market yourself as an individual and what comes with that, that means you can now go and just run a business. It's two completely different things, because once you start running a business, you need a team of individuals. You need to show real leadership qualities. Like, I think when you're just an individual, you have to show leadership qualities to an extent to become successful. So you can't kind of follow the herd. You kind of need to make your own boss decisions. But I think once you're actually a boss and you've got to put money in people's pockets, do you know what I mean? Like, delegate certain roles, walk into kind of big meetings. Because I think the problem is when you, I was talking about this before on Halfcast, shout out to Halfcast, Chucky and Poet and them, but I think like talent gets pigeonholed as talent a lot.
Yeah.
And I think we've kind of fell into that trap because we didn't know anything better. So what I mean by that is, once you're talent, you can't then apparently sit in a boardroom and hold a conversation because you're just the creative guy. You don't really know business.
Have you experienced that quite a bit?
100%. Like, I think everyone that's talent has experienced that at some point. Unless you've come through the gate like Jigger, straight away, but like, I own Rockefeller, I've got my own thing. It's hard to get the respect of executives or people in suits when you're talent, because they like to kind of separate creatives,
you know what's mad,
and entrepreneurs in that way.
And sorry to cut you, but I think what's really interesting is that, so for me, the reason I see you or anyone in your kind of space as a businessman is because I see the logic and also I know the skills it takes to be consistent at any craft.
Yeah.
And a lot of those skills that it takes are the same skills you need in business, yeah? Now, for me, I think I kind of started your way, then went the other way, and now I'm going back the other way. So I've kind of had a fair share of both sides, yeah?
Okay.
And it's mad interesting that you say that, because if you said to me you wanted to sit down and have a meeting about business, I would be quite open to doing that because of how you treat your business.
Okay, I get you.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm quite intrigued to hear your experience, because I thought a lot of people with an influence or a good network had the doors open, but by the sounds of it, it's like, it isn't that simple.
Yeah, it depends what level you're talking at. So it depends what level of business you're trying to conduct. Because I look at me and my friends, right? I came through with a generation of people who are now doing big things. Like, I look at, like, I came through with Maya Jama, I came through with Poet, Snoochie Shy, David Vujanic. Like, all of these people are actually my brethren as well. But we've come through as like almost like an alumni of the 2010s.
Yeah, so
that
100%.
generation. So like to equate it, we've come through the same time as like Drake, J. Cole, Kendrick, that generation of people. And now there's a whole new generation of people coming through. But I feel like if you're trying to upscale your business and move to a certain level, I feel like you need certain skills and you need to develop those skills. And it doesn't matter how cold you are at a particular industry or your skill set as a broadcaster or a presenter or whatever. I just think, like, to go to the next level, there's certain things you need to be able to do. And if you can't maneuver in a room full of sharks, then you're just going to get eaten alive or drown one way or the other. Like, and I feel like I've had to learn over time, oh, wow, like, me and my brethren have earned this corporation X amount of millions. We've earned this company X amount of millions. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've earned this company. Like, if I put the whole worth of what we've got, these BBC and all these corporations,
it's mad.
In comparison to what we've earned as the talent, there's a disparity there. It's not even close. But there's people always out there, because they understand the business, and it's, you know, it's usually like an affluent white male.
Yeah.
They understand the business. They've been taught that. They've learned how to take those individuals, make the real money off of them, and then trickle it down the filter and give you lot the bottom of it. Yeah. I think now we need to get to the point where it's like, hold on, we're so influential in the culture, we're so experienced, we're so seasoned that, hold on, forget the middleman, give us the bag, we'll create it. We got the cameraman. Yeah. We got CEO cast right here. We got this person here. We got the editor right here. Like, do you get what I'm saying? We've got the network. Give us the bag. We'll do it. We can still get the same results, because the results you're delivering for these companies aren't even that big anyway. They're not groundbreaking, some of these things. You're giving us the bag to create this. You've been given 250K. You've given me 10K. Where's the other 240K? Well, the big wig, he's taken some, this person's taken, they delegated, the company's banked this amount. And then the product ain't even all that. We could have made this with our eyes closed. So that's how I'm looking at things now. Like, it's about being able to cut out that middleman and speak to the brands directly that are giving out the bags.
So with you in the way that in your field, how do you plan about, so are we speaking specifically with sports, or are we now talking about Craig Mitch as a brand?
Just in general, not just sports. I think I wouldn't call it a mistake, but I think the thing that I did was my early roots, for anyone that don't know, my early roots was in entertainment music. So when I started Mitch and Suave, we started a music blog, like you mentioned earlier. And then we thought, how can we make our blog different? All right, let's try and interview the acts we're posting about. Now, obviously, we were posting about big acts at the time, like A$AP Rocky, Drake, whatever, can't get them. Let's try and start then with people we can get. Who do we know? Met Critical through Suave. Critical was already doing stuff with like Chip, Scorcher, Tiny
Coke,
Temple, all of these people early on Coke.
Yeah.
So it was like, no brainer. Like, you've shot music videos for people, you shot day-to-day diaries for them for their YouTube. Why don't you do interviews now? Build your thing, build our thing, mutual interests, make it happen. Did that. But then we realized as the music industry was shifting, there wasn't a lot of money in music for musicians at that time, bro. Let alone presenters.
Bro.
This is when MP3s were shifting to streaming. And
I always say this, like when people say to me, like, because that was a gap for me where a lot of people saw it's like, where did you go? That's where there wasn't the bag. And I'm not saying that's the right thing, but I had to go and get the bag to do everything I felt needed to be done.
And the bag there was diminishing, like before, for musicians, everyone. And it was a weird time for the industry. They were trying to figure out. So I thought, you know what's one of my other passions? Well, I've always said the three pillars of my personality and my interests have always been music, fashion, and sports. That's what I've always been interested in since I was young. So I thought, right, how am I going to do the fashion thing? It's difficult, do you know what I mean? Like, even this day, men being more metrosexual into fashion is a new concept.
100%.
Like 15, 20 years ago, you were getting killed if you were too
100%.
Fashionable. You were seen as not masculine, all of these things. So
but
new
you
concept.
kind of, I feel like you stuck your lane though when it comes to like hairstyles. You had some of the maddest hairstyles. But I feel like you stuck your lane, which we'll get into, but I feel like one thing about you is you stuck your lane, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and it's obviously work to some extent, do you get what I mean? Maybe to the level that you want to go to, which it seems like one thing I'm getting about you right now is like you seem like you're just ready to go up. You're on the edge now of realizing, yo, listen, like,
bro, I just realized the importance of ownership, man. I'm seeing, like, I've got friends that are telling me the importance. Like, I'm seeing examples, like even that Joe Budden thing that's going on with Spotify. Like, it's so important to own your shit, bro.
I know you've touched on that
it's
briefly.
So important.
But if we could just briefly touch on it, brand therapy, it's only right we speak about a brand like Spotify. So for those who don't understand, so Joe Budden has obviously confirmed he's leaving Spotify. Well, getting kicked, not even leaving.
No, he's leaving. They offered him a new deal.
Oh, okay. So
but he doesn't like the terms of the new deal.
And something you said to me before, like, which even opened my eyes, is that Spotify with podcasts.
Yeah.
And I don't know, might be shooting myself in the foot with this one, but Spotify with podcasts, like they take the podcast on, but then after that, it's pretty much like signing an artist, but taking all the royalties, all the shows, all the merch, and all of the rest that comes with it. Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on your deal, innit?
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
I think different people have different leverage depending on how big their fan base is. I think with Joe Budden's thing, it was more like, look, we're trying to move into podcasting because we know we don't have to pay out for podcasting, but we have to pay out for streaming music. So you've got a massive following on SoundCloud, Apple, whatever. Bring some of that over here. We'll give you an advance, like what music labels do.
Yeah.
Here's $1 million up front, $2 million up front, whatever it happens to be. And it stays here exclusively. I think with Joe Budden, the problem was that he saw that they brought all these people over because they knew they could only get the podcast there. So this whole, I remember they had millions of followers, comes over. They've got all these new podcasting audiences now, Spotify, and then they're giving out even bigger bags now off the back of you being a guinea pig to like Joe Rogan and all these things. Probably, but it worked in his best interest anyway. I think his podcast went bigger. He's at a leverage stage now. Obviously, Spotify aren't seeing the worth of it, according to him, which means he has to seek alternatives. But I think, like, for him, it's still, I think they both got what they wanted from the situation, regardless.
I think the reason why ownership, and this is what I do want to get from you, the reason why ownership is probably even more important for you is because you've worked with some of the big boy corporations. Like, so being fortunate to do things like that, like, how has that experience been? Was the first BBC, was that the first?
The first big one I would say was Premier League.
Okay, how did that come about? Like, how did you get to that stage?
So essentially what happened was I started, if we go back quickly, I started a show in 2012 called Kebabs, Lads and Shimpans. It was a football show we put on Grime Daily, literally because there were no football YouTube channels at the time.
Yeah.
We made the show. It was a 4-episode show for each week of the Euros in 2012. Me, Poet and Suave sat down. Me and Poet was like, look, we need to make this show. I've come up with a name, Kebabs, Lads and Shimpad, sick. Let's go and turn your bed, one of the rooms in your house into a studio, and let's just get it cracking. Let's pull the network. Early on that show, we had like Maya Jam was on that show, Femme Fell, we had Now Ranger. Like, we just pulled the people we knew that were involved or had some sort of following at the time, made a show. Off the back of that, got into football. Poet got a job at Copper 90. I was grinding still working part-time in the bookies, William Hill. And then
everyone gets a job in William. Like when you're young,
no way,
our age group,
no qualifications. You don't need no qualifications. Pays about £10-11 an hour. It's like it's the retail that
you can bang the hours out.
Yeah, just get the hours out. They'll give you long hours.
Until you get stuck up in the flipping.
Until you get stuck up in there, or you've made 1,000 coffees and teas. It just gets long.
I'm telling you.
But yeah, it was doing that. Then obviously, I think we started Filthy Fellas. We did that with Rewind. Off the back of that, Rewind, the same company that makes Filthy Fellas, got a contract with JD Sports to make their content, football content.
Okay.
And because I was like one of the main characters on Filthy Fellas at the time, they just gave me the opportunity to do the JD content. But through the JD content, I'm doing stuff with footballers now. Because JD obviously has contracts with like Nike, Adidas, like these brands. Those brands have deals with the footballers. So I found myself just doing like content with footballers. And then the Premier League saw that. Like the Premier League realised, look, we need someone younger. We need someone kind of from the YouTube alumni. We need someone that has a level of professionalism that can trust. So it was just an opportunity. Came across there, did it, auditioned, got it. And then from there, everything else just started spiraling. I got the England thing because I had that credibility of doing Premier League work live every week. And I could be trusted because the Premier League was there. And then off the back of that, I get the BBC thing because I've done the England thing, and it's dominoes after that, really, isn't it? In situations like that, are you like quite restricted to what you can do and can't do? Is there a lot of control that they have? I'd say yeah. I'd say out of the BBC pundits and the people that are kind of in that world, like anyone that's on television, I'd say I'm probably the closest thing you're gonna get to a hybrid. So I'm not. Listen, you're not gonna catch me out here in a rave going. You might. You've been in raves with me.
I might.
You might catch me, but you're not gonna see me like on a mad one, doing all of that. Like I carry myself. Like I understand that I'm part of an organisation. It's quite a traditional organisation. There's a certain level of professionalism that comes with it. But you will still go on my gram and still see me smoking shisha, swearing, chatting to my brethren authentically because that's authentically where I'm from. So once you reach out to me and bring me into this, your institution or whatever you want me to do, you need to understand that I come with a certain level of culture because that's where I'm from. Like you can't, if you don't want that, then you shouldn't use me in it. There's plenty of people out there that are going to pretend they're from the culture just because they're black or whatever, and you can get them in the building to do that. But with me, there's an element of risk. There's an element of this, that, and that. Do you get what I'm saying? But I do feel like to an extent, I have to carry myself to a certain level of professionalism.
Touching on where you're from, like, to be fair, I knew it was like North London side of it, but I didn't know specifically where. Like, we're quite similar in the sense of like, we both come from the grips of it, like where it really is obviously like rough areas, like especially now, especially more so your side than even my side. Like there's a lot of fuckery going on over there. All you gotta do is turn on TV and see like that process of like, and I hate using the phrase "make it out" because it's just so cheesy, but avoiding a lot of the obvious distractions. Like, how was that for you?
I think for me, I can't downplay the role of having my dad in my life.
Sick.
Like so many people I grew up with didn't, like on my estate, I grew up on an estate in Wood Green, like, and so many of the people I grew up with didn't have that father figure around. So many of my friends that lived like a few doors down from me on the block.
Bro.
I think my dad being there, although like me and my dad didn't have that super tight relationship, just him being in my life was a presence. Like he just let me know that if my dad's in my life and he's fully legit, he's not on fuckery. And then I've got my mum as well, who's obviously, the mums are always going to be the mums. There's no real excuse for me to go out and be on fuckery. Like I've got friends, I've grown up in a certain area, like I know everyone in the area, like these are all people that I've seen, I've walked through, I've seen their journeys and all of this. But I think for me, once you have both your parents in your life and they kind of give you what you want, but don't spoil you. So just enough to know like you can do whatever. Possible. Like I've always, like we weren't balling. My parents were working class, both worked jobs, didn't earn a lot of money. I grew up on an estate, but they always showed me that, like, you're always going to have the favorite wrestling toy you want. You're always going to have Sky in that house. You're always going to get a pair of trainers. That PlayStation game, you can have that. Do you get what I'm saying? Just be on the right path.
Is that where the work ethic came from? Because I think it's fair. Sorry to jump in, but I think it's fair to say like one thing above like saying trailblazer and being humble, that's fine, but you've had a sickening work ethic like at a very early stage.
Yeah, do you know what it is? I've learned as I got older. I think drive is definitely something you can't teach. We spoke about like, are you an entrepreneur? Are you born an entrepreneur or can you develop into an entrepreneur? Can it be taught? I think drive is just something you can't teach. Like I think that is definitely something within you, because there's people out there that are gonna be 50,000 times more talented than me, even in the field I'm doing. But if you haven't got the drive to get up and do that every day, because once you leave home, you realize life's hard.
Bro, once you
become an adult and you realize I got this amount of bills.
How early did you move out?
Bro, I didn't move out till like 2 years ago, bro. I was at home for time, Trist. But I made that conscious decision. I made that conscious because a lot of my friends were moving out early and I saw what they were going through. So I said, look, what I'm trying to do as a presenter, and remember, me, Poet, all my brethrens, we ain't seen no one do it like this before. So we're trying to do what we haven't seen.
True,
so we're working on faith entirely.
Trying to do what you haven't seen.
It's the
that
hardest.
is a visionary, bro.
Exactly. It's trying to be a visionary. So because we're doing that, I realized, bro, if I leave home and I've got to pay rent and all these things and make this dream happen, I'm putting myself at a hindrance.
That was a good conscious decision.
I've got to suck it up.
Yeah.
Take the ego, the ego hit of I'm living at home with my mom, man. I'm 26, grinding. You're seeing me on Premier League. I'm still living at home with my mom. I had to take that. I had to understand that I'm talking to Jesse Lingard or I'm talking to Trent. You lot got 20 M's in the bank.
And I'm going home to my mom.
And I'm going back to Green. I had to take that.
We're going to stay on this point for a sec. So this is like, I study Gary Vee like intensely, and he often talks about not being afraid to basically eat shit. Like not being afraid to embrace eating shit. Like the whole concept of like people are always portraying this and portraying that.
I mean, I am afraid to eat shit.
You know what I mean? I get you. Metaphorically speaking.
Metaphorically, of course.
What I do love is it's very rarely that people own that from our culture, bro. It's very rarely someone will sit there and say, I was living at my mum's till XYZ, and I'll tell you why. Like because of the fact that wasn't the priority. Like, the priority was what I was trying to get to. Like
for me, like when I was young, I always used to be embarrassed. Like I remember being in school and like I remember being in an assembly one time. And they were reading out I think they were reading out where people lived or something, or it was like a small meeting or something. I remember being embarrassed that I lived on an estate when I was young. And it's mad because all of the middle class people now and people from the suburbs, they wish they grew up in the end.
I relate
from the
to
culture.
this so much.
But I was mad embarrassed, bro. Like I was just like rah. Like I was almost had resentment from my parents. Like, oh, why am some of my brethren here's in this house and this house. And when I look back on it, I'm like, you know what? Like it taught me so much.
Facts.
One, growing up on an estate, like I wouldn't change it for the world, because I can't say this for everyone, but I know anyone that grows on an estate can relate. It's like you're in your own world, your own community. You learn certain things about friendship and camaraderie and all sorts of things that maybe I wouldn't have learned if I grew up on a road where your parents will be a lot more probably protective of you.
Yeah.
Like you can't just walk because someone could just kidnap you on the road. On the estate, it's like
family,
everyone knows everyone
on
the estate. Do you know what I
100%.
mean? Unless an outsider comes on the estate, which is rare, because who wants to just be on an estate anyway like that? I just feel like that kind of taught me, like you can't. As I got older, I realized don't be embarrassed where you're from, man. Like this is my journey. Like I'm here now, and obviously I'm saying it now as someone that's moved out and I'm doing my thing, but. Like it taught me, you got to embrace that. Like anyone that's young and listening to this or watching this, like don't be afraid of where you come from, because then it just makes wherever you end up even more respectable.
Fact.
It makes the journey even sweeter. It means you beat, like we talk about cliches, making it out and beating the odds, but it makes it shows it even more tenfold.
Yeah.
Because if you come from an affluent area, or if you come from a certain class, middle class family, obviously if you do your thing, you're still gonna get your props, but it's still like. You came from money. You always get that
100%.
little slight on you. When you come from nothing and you make it, it's literally, I got it out of the mud. The respect is different, man. So I think you just got to embrace wherever you're at, especially if you're from working class, poorer backgrounds. Like for me, like I said, had to grind it out, be at home, understand I'm coming back to the block. How did you
carry on going? Like, because you're surrounded by, like, you're in that circle, as you said, the alumni of, like, let's say 2010, of where everyone is high achievers that you're around. So, and one thing I noticed about like the creative space, and this is one thing that I realized where when I went to like the boardroom, quote unquote, and the creatives were still carrying on, in the creative space, it takes a long time to see results. That's one thing that do you know what I mean? It takes a long time. You might be grinding for 10 years and then get the big check off of the big corporation. So how did you keep that energy carrying on? Because you've kept it. Like you've just always just bang, 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 bang.
I think for me, it's because I just don't do it for money, bro. Well, I do it
Okay.
for money. Obviously, I want to be compensated. But it's never stemmed from money, bro. It's always stemmed from, I just had a passion to create. And I had a passion to create with my bedrooms. Like, if you ask Poet, like when I first met Poet, he called me, he hit me up on Facebook. It was like, he saw us doing Mitch and Suave. And he's like, you lot are cold. Like, you don't have that much views. People don't really know about you, but I see something here. Let's link up and talk. So I linked up, talked with him. I remember the first day we were going to shoot something with That's a Rap. Me and Poet were walking and we couldn't figure out where the venue was. And we were walking for time. It was in like Trent Park. It was a long walk. Everyone was like, you know what? I think it was cold. It was raining. Like everyone was like, oh, let's just forget it, man. Let's not do it. And then I was like, no, we're going to do this. Like, we're getting it done. Like, I didn't come here to walk all this way not to get it done. And Poet always reminds me of this. And he says to me, yo, I'll never forget that day when I first met you and you did that. Because it was like, there was just something in you where you was like, you wanted to get it done. So I think for me, it was just like, just going back to the drive thing, man. Like, I think for me, I've just always had that drive in me and I've loved what I do. And it's that kind of cliche thing again of like, if you're passionate about something, you're always going to do it because it's a passion. It comes to you naturally. You actually enjoy it. People don't have to pay you to do it. Once people don't have to pay you to do something, you're just going to be on it and do it anyway. But then the money will follow.
What part is it you say you're passionate about? Because just to obviously sort of elaborate on that, your title covers a lot. That's why I say content creator, because you could do anything realistically. Anything to do with a brand could come to you and say, talk about this, talk about that. Yeah. So what is it about what you do that you love? What is it?
Just entertaining people, man. Entertaining people. Like, just because I grew up in the 90s and I always say that growing up as a child in the 90s, we had it best. Everyone's going to say that about their era.
Facts.
Everyone's going to say that about their era. But for me, when it comes to television specifically, our era can't be touched. Like the shows I grew up on, My Life and Kids, Fresh Prince, Saved by the Bell, the cartoons, like Dexter's Laboratory, all of this stuff that I grew up on great television. Even if we go to British television, bro, soaps were better in the 90s.
The Bill,
bro,
Brookside.
Even the fucking game shows, Supermarket Sweep, Gladiators,
But I wonder
Maze.
if everyone feels like that though. You're right.
No, but bro, no one can convince me that the TV of today can touch.
That's a whole nother. That's a whole nother debate.
It is.
80s or 90s, because we're not going to talk to millennials. Can't chat to us.
80s, obviously, 80s were like. 80s was the foundation, innit? That's when colour TV really came in and they were setting the groundwork and they had certain shows, and people in the 80s are always going to say their era, but I think the 90s really, really, really went into like a new level. Even wrestling, bro. Wrestling was the littest in 100%. The 90s. The Rock, Stone Cold, Undertaker, WWE 100%. Attitude. Like, you can't, WWF should I say it? Like, for me, television couldn't be touched. So because I've grown up with that television, I always knew I wanted to work in that. Because it was too much good television.
You love the culture of entertainment. Like, I think whether we spoke music, TV, film, I feel like you just love entertainment, innit? I
love it, bro. Like when we get into like anyone that knows me, and I think this is why I always wanted to make a podcast, and I've always kicked myself recently being like, why did I start one in 2020 when I had brethren that started one in 2014? And I was saying to them back in 2015, a year later, I'm going to start one, never did. I'm going to start one, never did. And then today it's like such a saturated market that you're trying to fight with people that have already built. But for me, it's like, I can chat about anything, bro. Like me and my brethren will just sit down and chat about music for time, debates, projects, whatever it happens to be, our UK artists, where they are, where they're at. I've just always loved entertainment. And like I said, it always stems back, I think, from the era I grew up in. Like, I was exposed. My cousin put me on to, from young, like when I was 6, 7, listening to Tupac, even though I shouldn't be listening to those artists at that age. Then when I get to 11, 12, I'm taking in Eminem, I'm taking in DMX, I'm taking in these artists that were popular then. So for me, it's just, I think I was just lucky enough to grow up with a good product in TV and music and fully be exposed to it because of the people around me. Some people, when I talk to them that are even my age, they're like, didn't really watch that when I was that age, you know. I didn't. And I'm like, raw, you didn't grow up around that.
You see people like that, like, see, like me, even if it's like this, even for example, relationships, like I can't connect with someone that isn't passionate about things like this. Because I'm so, but like I'm not, so for example, I'm not a sportsman, and everyone's always shot like, bro, nothing. Sports, I'm nothing. Don't even talk. Some of the names you say.
Why is that though? Why is that? I've always found that interesting about people that grew up in London and all their friends love sports, but they're like the one that...
You know what it was? When I was young, I've never spoken about this, but when I was young, I was a Man U fan. Die hard, bro. Up until like...
Don't blame me.
Up until like 98, 99, Then I got into school, and then music, bro. It was music. Music is what like some people say, oh, it was girls, it was hustling. It was music for me. All I cared about was music. Talk to me about the music. Like, if we're listening to a song, who produced it, who wrote it, who's like in the backing vocals, how did they write it? Talk to me about that. I'm there all day. If you sit there and mention like Ghetto Gospel album, for example, this one that comes off my head, I can sit there and tell you who did the percussions, who did the drums, who that was his aunt on the chorus. Like, I can go in. But when it comes to like football, bro,
Great project, by the way. Ghetto Gospel.
Oh, don't even
takes you back to a time in your life, innit?
Bro,
Yeah,
that project. Listen, shout out Gets, because he's actually a big fan of the show as well. Like, which was mad a privilege to me as well, because that's GH at the end of the day, innit?
Yeah, legend.
But yeah, bro. Like, so when it comes to that football, now what's weird though, what has happened is Turn 360 for me, because of like a few clients, because we've had a few clients at Rap City that are footballers, and like a few friends that are also footballers. Now, me being like business minded, I'm really interested in the business side of football. Okay. So like when I hear like certain people that I just know to be like, yo, what's going on? And I hear the deal, and my boys would be like, you know, man, do you know what deal he's just got? I'm like, bro, I don't know.
Agents and stuff.
Even like one of my boys is an agent for Sancho. When I hear these things, like, I'm like, bro, like my brother, that's my, so that
stuff. You should have got into football.
Nah. You know, I don't have the passion, bro. And like you just said, I would never do anything. Like, and another thing you said that I relate to as well, is the podcast thing late. But you know what I will say to that is that our journeys were just different. Because I'm like you, bro. I am one of the original man who should have done a podcast. I've been chatting for England for 10 years. Yeah. I should have done a podcast years ago. Yeah. I told so many people to do it. Yeah. But I think for us, like, we just had we had to go through different things to get here. Do you get what I mean?
It line's different for different people.
But your podcast, just to move on to that, bro, I took in I think the podcast was kind of where I prompted, like, where I thought, do you know what? Yeah, need to get him on mine, because I first and foremost, podcast is sick. Love the podcast. There's very few people in the UK that are
still learning, still growing.
Yeah, of course. But you're digging the gems industry out. And that's my main, one thing for me, I'm very big on like, productive conversation. Like, I don't just want should they go halves on the bill, and who should, like, all of that stuff is not really where my head's at. So when I watched certain of your episodes, I thought, sick. And one thing that I really took attention to was your Mondays. So we're going to talk about your Mondays, because your Mondays were like, this is way before I even started my Grow Daily Mondays. Like, your Mondays, I feel like you get a good engagement from it.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that. I know from talking to you that there is a massive mechanism behind the machine. Like, I know you're big on mindset, reading, thinking a certain way, how you live. Like, what's your day-to-day habits? Like, what's important to you?
I think for me, just being organized is very important. Like, I think people just underestimate the importance of just having your shit together, bro. Like, little routines that build up to huge successes. Do you know what I mean? Some people, you wouldn't believe it, like just the little scattiness of just how they're, like, I walk into here, I see your apartment, I can see you're an organized individual. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, the way things are laid out, the way you conduct yourself is organized. That for me is just the basis foundation to be successful. You know where things are, do you know what I mean? I like to carry myself as just like an organized individual. I think after that, man, like, I'm just a keen learner, bro. Like, I like to learn, man. I understand that, you know, you can never know too much. No one knows everything. Like, if the people I can't stand the most are people that think they've got everything figured out. They think they've got the game or life clocked. When we're all living it, life will slap you around the back of your head quickly.
As soon as you think that.
As soon as everything's going well and things are flying. Because I was speaking to Chucky about it, and like Chucky put it perfectly. Life's about runs, man. And sometimes you go on a sick run. Your run has to end.
100%.
Doesn't mean you won't get another run.
100%.
More runs come, but
100%.
you need to understand, not everyone is going to be bloody Drake and have an 11-year run. Do you get what I'm saying? You're going to have them dips and all of those sorts of things. So I think I just started embracing it early on when I started getting knockbacks, that I had to develop thick skin, understand that, this is part of the game. And I think that's one of the things I identified in a lot of people around me, and just strangers as well, is that it's nothing to do with how good you are at something or how talented you are, or, you know, your interest being in the right or wrong place. I think it's more to do with how people receive knockbacks and life.
It's not.
I'll speak to certain people and I'll be like, why have you stopped doing this? Like, what's happened? Your consistency's fallen off. And they'll just be like, life. Just life stuff. And it's like, bro, I get that.
hate that, you know.
I get that, but everyone's living life, you know.
I'll be honest,
everyone's
Craig,
living life.
I am probably a lot harsher. I hate that. I hate hearing that because it's just the defeatist. Like I know exactly what you mean. It's like life. So it's like one thing you just said that just strikes out to me is that Rocky the film. Like it's not how hard you hit, it's how hard you can get hit.
Keep
like
forward.
so true, bro. And I think when I look at someone who life's defeated, it just breaks my heart, bro. Like this breaks my heart because it's like, bro, we all, as you said, like that's why I think I have such a salute and respect to the people that I look at that have had 5-year runs, like you said, 10-year runs. When I think about like sitting and have a conversation with you, a man like Poet, these are people that I remember doing a similar thing 10 years ago. So if you're still doing a similar thing now, I think you deserve so much respect. And I think we need to start embracing that more because longevity is so difficult, bro.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, there's a fantastic new wave of individuals in similar spaces. But my thing is always 5 years, 10 years, let me see you then. Because right now, this ain't the be all and end all.
No, of
this
course
is just,
not. And that's the thing. A lot of people live in the right now. A lot of people aren't visionaries. A lot of people don't think long term. And you know what? I'll be honest. Look, in this day and age, even what we're doing now, like YouTube, social media, the way algorithms and companies are using our data and data becoming more valuable than oil and all these different things, we're living in an ever-changing climate. The whole flipping industry and everything is shape-shifting as we speak, and everyone's trying to figure it out and learn as we go along. I think people need to just stop being mad hard on themselves. I think that's another thing. People get overcritical of themselves. You just got to understand that, like, for me, if you're passionate about something, you're organized, you're driven, and you have the right circle of friends around you to keep you on the right path, it sounds cliche, but the possibilities are endless. Life's gonna get in the way. That's life. It's supposed to get in the way. Like nothing's supposed to be just some easy sailing, plain sailing adventure. You want it to be spicy, bro. Like obviously you don't want it to be spicy. There's certain things you don't want to happen, which are a part of life. You don't want to lose loved ones. Like that stuff can affect people's mental health. And like I said, as someone that's only been out from mum's house for 2 years, I've seen the difference. Like there's a difference. Because when you've been at home for that long, you feel babied, bro.
100%.
You feel babied. You're not paying real bills. You're giving your mum good money here and there and whatever. But when it's, this is the expenses that are coming out monthly. These are my minimums. When you start tallying it up on your laptop and you realize, all right, my expenses are this, my outgoings are this, my income needs to be this in order for me to achieve this and do this, and you start tallying it all up, that's when life gets real. And I understand life's real, and things get in the way. And luckily for me, like I don't have children. Do you get what I'm saying? I know there's people out there that have kids and they got to take that into account when they make certain business decisions or whatever. But for me, I just understand that life's gonna have those hard things and just embrace them, bro. Once you embrace them, then the solutions start coming to you. Well, how do I figure out these problems?
And when you're really aligned with where you're trying to go to, the solution just presents itself. Like if it really means that much to you, you're gonna carry on going. If it really means that much.
And that's the thing. I found myself like people were asking me loads of questions consistently on. This was like 3-4 years ago when Snapchat was in its prime. And like before DJ Izaki, that's a major key, innit?
Khaled time.
And before Insta nicked stories. Before Insta even had stories and they
before every brand nicked stories.
Exactly. Everyone, WhatsApp, YouTube, they all got stories now. But when Snapchat was at its prime, like, and stories was really popping, like that's when I started Mitch's Money Motivation. It was literally because people kept messaging me and saying, yo, how did you do this? Like, I love your job. I want to interview footballers for a living. I want to do this. And I couldn't.
You must get that a lot.
Yeah, I couldn't reply to them individually. It was becoming repetitive. Like I was copy and pasting mini paragraphs. I was like, this is long. Let me just put something on my story that everyone can watch at once, where it's like, kind of like a kick up your bum for the week, but also just a little gem to say, look, this is what I do. This is how I think. This is my mindset. If you can take something from it and adapt it, then do it. Started doing that, and then it became like people started going, "Oh yeah, love that, do it." But then it became like people relying on it.
I've noticed some of the episodes you're like, people, it's coming, it's just coming later on.
People just become reliant on it, then, man. And it's like I did it organically. Like I never set out to make it like a reoccurring thing. Do you know what I mean? But then it just kind of became that. But then I found it helping myself as well. Like it kept me on my toes. It gave me discipline to know, Craig, every Monday you got to make sure you do this, and you got to make sure you're coming with something. Do you know what I mean? And then it just kept me disciplined in that way to make sure I'm always preparing myself to do that. And just to show consistency.
Facts.
Because consistency is one of the hardest parts. But yeah, like I never really planned to go into it like that. I just found myself wanting to address certain people's things, but also keep myself motivated.
I think they're usually the best like content. So you see, like, for example, someone who's a content creator, because I think now a lot of the time, well, for me personally, when I think content creator, I kind of lean to YouTube. If you were looking at content creators now and you had a class, because a lot of people that are coming into this industry now that want to start YouTube, want to start this, want to start that, what would you say are like the keys to that? Like, what would you say? Because I could be a content creator, for example, and I might not relate to you because I might be like a girl who wants to start a YouTube channel, and maybe you can even explain this to me, but they title themselves as content creators as well. Like in their bio, it would say so. Is that the same? I mean, it's not, is it?
I mean, listen, like,
but it is content. It's content.
It's content. Like, content's just producing something that someone can consume, really, innit? Like visually. But for me, I just think when you look at YouTube and people that want to get into content creation, I think you just need to ask yourself, first of all, before anything else, are you passionate about this, or are you doing this for monetary gains? What are you doing it for? If you're doing it for money, but you're gonna drop off.
Yeah, facts.
You are going to drop off because the hours you got to put in, whether you're editing it yourself and being a modern broadcaster, as I like to call it, so someone that fronts the camera, behind the camera, edits it, creates it, uploads it, titles it, comes up with artwork for the video, and all of these are so many different things going into one thing. Yeah. So my whole thing is this: if you are not passionate about that, you're going to drop. It's just a matter of time before you drop off. Because the fact of the matter is, there's 1,000,001 ways to make money, and there's a reason you're not doing all these other ways of making money because you're not really passionate about it. But you've seen this as comes with a bit of plaudits, comes with monetary gain if you do it properly, and you can get a following and doors just open for you. The reality is that's the idealistic dream of it, and that's how it looks on the outset. That's the nice part of it. But the reality is, bro, it's a slug. It's a grind. Like, you've got to put hours into this. You've got to be on point. You've got to deliver to an audience. And building an audience isn't the hard part. It's then keeping that audience, maintaining that audience, and keeping them fed. Because if you don't, they will find someone else.
I'll give you a prime example
you're
on
providing
that.
A service.
Like, I've got, since the Taser episode, I've got a large amount of subscribers. Like, because obviously I'm fortunate enough that as I said, I started content years back and then went away into the business world. I've come back. So I get both sides of things, and I always see things from a business brand point of view as well as like a modern content point of view. And I'm very aware that you guys may have subscribed because you liked the Taser episode. Don't get me wrong. A large percent probably have seen other episodes and they like the vibe of the show. But I also now realize I need to keep you now. And to keep you now isn't going to be something that, and it's a thin line because you don't want to lose your mind trying to, that's one thing that a lot of people do, artists do it. Like, for example, you get artists that bang, come out, first hit, Bobby Shmurda type hit, and then they're chasing that song forever. Do you get what I'm saying? They're chasing that song forever. You don't want to become that person, but at the same time, you do need to get that song again.
100%.
So yeah, I think that's a major key as well. Carrying on from what you're saying, so in regards to like being a content creator, if I'm just an up and coming YouTuber, what advice would you give me?
I'd say get a good network of people around you. That's imperative. Like, you need to, like that saying.
All right, but you know what? I said this. I say this all the time, but I'm gonna say what they say to me. How do I get into that room, Trist? But how do I meet these people, Craig?
You got to bring value to the table. What's your value? Like, you can't just get around.
He didn't even watch my thing. He didn't even watch my thing. Yeah, he didn't even watch it.
Well, what thing were you thinking about?
So the first week I did a rant about basically saying bring. I saw one here. And then my next one was to answer how you do it.
Is that the recent one? Yeah, I need to watch that.
And I said value. Yeah. But yeah, 100%.
Value. Yeah. So like you need to come with value. Like, you can't just get around, bro. If I walk in a room full of millionaires, right, and I'm like, oh yo, I got this idea, but there's no intrinsic value for these people. They're just gonna humor me, like, at best.
But how? Like, I'm gonna be the audience here, and just be devil's advocate. How do you build that value though? If you're just
create. So it's not gonna look good at first, bro. That's the reality. Create your channel. It's not gonna have views. It's not gonna have a community. It's nothing. You don't just walk into something and have anyone that's built something, McDonald's or whatever. They didn't just have customers. They didn't open it and it was just there. Like, you've got to build a reputation, you've got to build value, you've got to build trust, you've got to build a brand. Like, hence, brand therapists and all these things showing you lot. Like, so for me, it's just like understanding, look, what am I creating? Everyone's got ideas. All right, next step, bring the idea to life. Once you brought the idea to life, show some consistency in the idea. Give the idea the respect it deserves because you believed in it for some reason to begin with. Just be a bit consistent. It's treated like a plant, innit? So the seed, your idea is the seed. You plant the seed, then you water it. Give it a bit of sunlight. That's what it is with YouTube and everything. Give it a bit of care and attention. Water your seed, bro. Your idea, whatever it is. Keep developing it. Then begin to collaborate with people that are at your level. Find like-minded individuals that are doing something similar to you that aren't big. Everyone looks at these people and they're like, on YouTube, I've started this podcast, but I want him. I want Joe Budden. How's that? Why is Joe Budden going to work with you? You got to find someone else that's doing at your level. Work together.
Be honest, I've said all of this to you, innit? Like literally word for word, bro.
Yeah,
like,
because it's the truth.
And he's listened and it's worked, bro.
Everything you're saying, I can tell you that for a fact, because that podcast didn't come just
like that, yeah, bro. Like I've seen his like it's work, but bro, everything you're saying, like I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Like this is almost like Craig Mitch gives you brand therapy today, because it's real talks,
do you
bro.
know what it is, Trist? It's like people look at it and they just want the end result. Like they see the end result, they want the end result. They want to work with the big people. They're like, how did this person? How did this? Well, you got to remember, you're gonna ask me, how am I doing this with Poet or Maya or whoever, whatever. But then you won't realize that I was with these people when we were doing nothing.
I have the same
we've grown
thing.
together. So if you find someone now that's at your level, in 8 years, you lot will be the people up there because you've grown together. Don't always look at the people that are always big. Build your own community. Build your own foundation. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
100%.
I just say, get the idea, water the idea, feed that idea, start working with like-minded individuals, develop your network, and just have consistency. Bro, if you have consistency and you have even a mediocre
100%.
product, you will be successful.
100%.
Fuck an amazing product.
100%.
Even if your product is meaty, bro, mid, it will do well if you're consistent, because people just,
especially in this
people
day and
just
age,
rely on consistency.
Look how many rappers like we only know their song because we just heard their song so many times. Like,
Do you know
it's
what
not
I mean?
because we think they're the best
We're being
rapper.
fed it on radio.
Yeah,
we're being fed it
100%.
everywhere. Like, bro, people just like consistency. They like to know you're going to deliver me this service all the time. I don't care how sick his service is. He gives me that service once and then he doesn't give me it for another 2 months. Why am I? You're not reliable, bro.
Yeah.
This person here is decent enough. It feeds my appetite and it's reliable. I know it's always going to be there.
Facts.
Bro, people got a crazy appetite for consuming content right now, more than ever. So it's like, just find your marketplace. And I would say one thing as well, specifically, find your niche, man.
Yeah.
You got to find your niche.
USP, what makes you different.
Find it, because if you don't, you're then trying to pull an audience from loads of other people that are already established with that audience.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what are you offering?
Yeah.
Like, what
100%.
are you giving me that this, because they're giving it to me sick right now and everything's at a high level and produced at a high level. What are you giving me? There's no point in me coming over there.
Fact.
And that's why for me, even now, everything's been like a trial and error for me this year. And obviously the pandemic hasn't helped. But like with my podcast, I've learned that for me, it's all right. Joe Budden, you're the rapper that can give us insight on the rap music industry because you've been through it. And when you talk about touring or rapper singles or this relationship, it's got credibility because you're insight. Insight's so important.
Facts.
So what can I offer? All right, I've learned now TV.
Facts.
I can give you insight
this is
into
exactly
this
why the
industry.
show
I can give you insight. So that's what it's about, man.
100%. 100%. So
Anyone can do it though. Anyone watching this, anyone can literally, and it's cliche once again, anyone can do whatever they want to do. Especially when it comes to YouTube. And you could do anything you want on YouTube, bro. It's just about having the right level of drive and right level of consistency.
you got to be willing to subscribe to that marathon, bro. Like,
it's not
otherwise it's not going to happen.
Don't get me wrong though, some people, for them, it will be a lot easier than others. It's just written for them. Some people just got that like look at Chunks. Chunks, you can't not like Chunks.
Yeah.
Chunks is so likable.
Yeah.
He's funny,
Facts.
his smile. I don't know no one that don't like Chunks. So for Chunks, with a certain level of consistency, his thing's going to be astronomical because that's just what it is. Like you can't, it's just written for some people in that way. But even if you aren't that likable or whatever,
if you do it enough, 100%.
And you give the right avenues, you're good, man.
I've seen some major improvements in people's crafts just because they're doing it every day. Like just
100%.
because you've been doing it every day, 365 days. And I honestly believe if you dedicate yourself to any craft and you are willing to go through the ups and downs of it, you have to naturally become good at it.
If you did 100 kick-ups every day in the morning, every day here, what would that look like in 6 months? How cold would you be at kick-ups?
I'll be on Craig's show, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Lingard and them, man. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, it's
but
just
no,
practice.
100%, bro. 100%. So what's next? Because I can feel energy,
Yeah.
which is like, there's either something you're sitting on, there's something you want to be sitting on. Like this, let me give you how I've judged it. Like I think when we bucked up last, when we was at Smokies, was before the pandemic. And when the pandemic hit, I feel like you took a few weeks, this is from watching on socials, to adjust and kind of think, okay, how's this going to affect this, that, and the other? But what I can see in you is you're a winner regardless. So it's like, all right, cool, we're calm, let's go, bang, boom, podcast, whatever. now, I mean, we can say the pandemic, like, this could be reality for the next year. Like, we never know, yeah? So, what are your plans now to adjust? Like, where are you? Where's your head at? Because you mentioned businesses a bit. Like, is that where your head's at? Where are you headed?
Yeah. So for me now, it's about. I'm not going to delve into the specifics of what it is, but I'm working on an app at the moment.
Sick.
I want to get into tech. I just think tech is the future. If you're not getting into tech now, then you're just going to get left behind. Like, it's as simple as that. It's boring stuff, but I'm trying to get more into crypto.
I'm quite heavy in it, right? I literally, yeah, we definitely need to speak because I was in it for 3 years, but I got heavier in it during lockdown. So now you're getting in. The first thing I just say to you,
all of this stuff, it's like it's made it clearer.
Just get some chain link, bro.
It's made it.
Just buy some chain link.
Yeah.
Buy a chain link and shout me after, like, 100%. And even to people out there, I'd advise. Like I said it to my mum the other day. Like, this is just kind of me being in a culture that might not openly be mad comfortable with this investment and kind of opening the door to anyone who's very unaware. I'm far from an expert. I'm just very fortunate to be surrounded by people that have done very well.
Around you?
Yeah, 100%. Okay. Like, 'cause that's kind of my background before all of this was I went into the city and I'd done investment sales for like 5 years. So I was around commodity investments and trading. So I have
wanted the bag, innit? You was like, let me go get the bag.
I'll be honest. So I have that background knowledge, but then now the people I'm surrounded by were just like, bro,
how did you get into that, though?
Opportunity.
How did you get into the investment? Yeah, and all that?
Originally, it was just, I'll be honest, it wasn't the finance strength, it was the sales strength. Okay. It was like, my role was literally, you are a salesman at this role. You come in, you speak to them, you introduce them to a senior, and that's all you do. Because I have a sales ability and I can hold a good conversation, got really good at that, mastered that part of it, then started to understand, okay, finances and what's an ISA and what's stocks and shares, this, that, and the other. Then I could kind of get to the stage of like, look, we buy these investments. We would say that it's a good investment for you to buy. We're not regulated to say how to advise you on it, but this is what we can get it for. If you buy it for this, we can obviously sell it to you for that. Then got to a level where it was like mastered that, and then started my own company. And then it kind of came away from what I was selling and realizing that I was just really good at selling, and then training people on how to sell. Okay. And then that's kind of how it spilled into that Grow Daily. And then next thing you know, we're obviously here. So yeah, for me right now, crypto is a massive key. Nipsey told us 2 years ago. Elon told us 5 years ago.
Yep.
There's so much.
See,
out
like
there.
Money looks like it's gonna end up being digital. Period.
Facts,
cash.
bro.
They're trying to rub cash out.
100%.
This pandemic thing is the easy way to rub out cash. Yeah, you're spreading it. This, 100%. That, and the third. I think during pandemic and lockdown, we saw that contactless raised from £30 to £45 now. On your phone, it's limitless. Like, the only way they're gonna try and take it is to digital. Period.
Definitely.
So I'd rather be in the market that they can't regulate as well, that it's still legitimate, and you know, Bitcoin and all of that. I'd rather be in that market, bro. It only makes sense because over here they're gonna try and regulate everything.
Fact. Do you know what else is important? I'm so glad you brought this up because I don't know how else I would have spoke about this topic, because I think I always get people shouting at me like, what should I invest in, this, that, and the other. Again, to make it clear, I'm not FCA regulated, so I can't say what you should invest in. However, if you read between the lines, number one, you'll see where the world's going. Number two, you will find some opportunities that you're hearing about now. In 3 years, you'll kick yourself. Bro, someone told me to buy Ripple like 4 years ago, XRP, which now it would have been great to have held on to. So right now, I don't know if people are aware of this, but Apple and Tesla are doing a stock split. If you get involved now, you're lit in it. Like, let's just keep let me use colloquial terms. It's lit, in 12 months, in 14 months, 8 months. So yeah, if you don't know anything about this, just go and what I'm using the time during lockdown to just get my head around more. Don't kill yourself, because it can seem a bit like this mad
daunting.
techie, yeah. But just there's so much YouTube.
Why do you think people get put off from that though? Like, why do you think people from ends, you know, people from our culture, black culture, they look at stocks, bro, and it's just like, yeah,
it's like, do you know how many people I know from the road that will go and buy a house or even buy a watch, which is great. I'm 100%. I've done both of them, and I get it. However, they won't look at this because it's got letters and words they just don't understand. And I'll be honest with you, as much as I'm so open-minded, I did the same. Because when I was first told about crypto, bro, I was told about crypto in like 2014 because of the world I was in. Yeah. But you couldn't tell me about that. I wanted to bust down in a Bentley. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, and that's just conditioning. And unfortunately, it takes people like us for someone to watch something like this and they'll be like, right, these men are actually cool. And they're saying that. So now maybe let me think that. Because it literally takes people like us. Because when there was people telling me, it weren't people I could relate to. I'm thinking, yeah, but you ain't got a... Meek Mill said bust down. Like, do you get what I'm saying? If Meek Mill said crypto, then I would have been in crypto,
100%,
bro.
100%.
You get what I'm saying?
That's why it was
So-
so big when Nipsey was talking about it and stuff.
Yeah, that definitely was like, raw, okay, cool, there's something here. But yeah, man, the world's going to be cashless, digital age, everything's going to be, the cars are going to become, even like down to, bro, like even down to car
What does that
rapping.
mean
like,
for shotters and stuff then?
in regards to money and that.
Cash and
bro,
that. What does that mean?
but
Like,
then
what does that mean for all of that?
there's been a reference recently, I can't remember which rapper it is, but he said something about I accept Bitcoin or something like that. Like,
Crazy.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's
Yeah.
going to be like, bro, there'll be a way, man.
Yeah, you gotta be careful though, because I seen that whole Encro stuff and did you see
Oh,
that?
bro.
That was mad.
Listen, seen that. I know people are affected by that. Like,
That's
guys,
wild, bro.
get your money and get out. Like, I'm not promoting any form of criminal activity, but
Word.
don't be on the internet, like, moving mad. Like,
course.
and risking your freedom for a pair of designer. Like, it's mad. But anyway, each is to
No
their own.
names.
But yeah, so that's your next few steps. So,
Yeah, man. Like, I want to get into crypto. I want to get into tech. Definitely. This is the boring stuff. In
even
terms
the
of my
tech's good,
career,
yeah.
in terms of my career, like I want to go more into entertainment again. I want to start making documentaries. So I feel like I'm at that age now where I want to shed light on some real shit.
We
yeah.
need that from you,
Yeah,
bro.
man. I want to start making documentaries because I
we
feel
need
like
some Vice type shit from you, man. Like,
yeah, I don't know if Vice will take me. Vice are very, very hipster niche-ish. I would
Yeah.
do Vice, but for me, it's just I just want to shed light on real shit. I want to
Yeah,
make stuff
man.
that people can watch in 20 years.
Yeah.
Basically. Do you
Yeah,
know what I mean?
no, that's a really good
Because like
fit for
Louis
you, man.
Theroux, you throw him on Netflix now, you can watch it because he's
Yeah.
talking about he's investigating and covering real life stuff.
Yeah.
So I want people to be like, yo, we saw Craig's journey. Like he was doing other stuff online, internet. He's done football. He's now doing documentaries.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like
Sick.
I want to expand it in that way. So I want to go more into entertainment, not just football. I don't want to get pigeonholed as like a Jake Humphreys or a Gary Lineker. Like
Yeah,
I want to
yeah,
be.
yeah.
I want people to look at Craig and go, well, Craig's just doing what he's genuinely interested in,
Yeah.
and there's no. You can't box him in because I feel like in our media, especially commercially in the mainstream, they like to box people in. So if you do that, if you do football, you football pundit.
Yeah.
Can't be
yeah.
over here doing this on ITV or you
Yeah.
can't be doing this over here. I want to make sure I'm doing that. That's mainstream wise. And then for me personally, I just want to keep creating my own content. So obviously got to double down. I'm going to start doing my own one-on-one chats soon. Because I think that's just important. And I think it's just important that when you have a channel, especially like YouTube, for example, that you're giving them a diverse array of content.
Yeah,
But it's all
you've really
cohesive
opened
in
my
a
eyes
sense.
with that today, by the way.
Yeah.
Obviously, you said it off camera, but yeah, you really like. I've said recently to a lot of people starting businesses, you want your business to also be a media company, and what I mean by that is in 2020, if you have a business without any media content coming out, you're behind the eight ball. You need to have
Word.
pretty much like with Rap City, yeah, we've got a car rapping company, but then we've got a whole media company that produces content. But something you said, which has opened my eyes, is like, it's not a channel unless it like operates like a channel.
Yeah.
And I think that's so interesting because I've always had
All the
like,
most successful YouTube channels do that.
yeah, it's true.
Awesome.
And I think what I was trying to stay away from, and this is like really me thinking as I'm talking, like, was I want to stick to my lane though. But what I get from what you're saying is, for example, I could have my Monday motivation as one show. I could have a podcast as another show. I could have another show. It doesn't have to always be what's that? Oh, he did. Oh, sick,
Lit.
sick. Shout out Aleem. Come on. Yeah, do you get what I mean? So I
Yeah.
think with me, I've always thought I don't want to step outside of entrepreneurship mindset and business and branding. I don't like. I had an approach yesterday from a podcast to talk about like relation. I don't want. That's just not my thing. I don't want to. Like I can have a conversation with you as my friend, but not like that. How would you say? And this is me actually asking. Like, yeah, make it a channel, but then how am I making it a channel without skipping my lane and jumping into another lane?
I think you just got to kind of maybe stay true to your foundations and what you've built already. So, for instance, if you know like the brand therapist, for example, right, you're having chats with people about their brand and how they've built it and how they've got to where they are. It's just about then finding something that links to that, but
Yeah,
is a
I feel
different
you.
format
I
of
got you.
content.
Yeah.
So, on YouTube, for example, this is a sit-down chat and me and you chatting one-on-one.
Yeah.
Another video on the channel might be top fives.
Yeah. I
popular
got
on
you. I
YouTube.
got you.
Have an episode once a week, top fives. Another one might be, I don't know, just singular, just you chatting about something specifically, like the motivation or whatever.
Yeah.
But just offering an array of content that still have an underlying narrative and link, but they're different things because people are into different types of content, because you will find people that might not be interested in the sit-down one-on-one for whatever reason, but they love hearing about a top 5 discussion of top 5 brands that have built this much in this year,
Yeah.
or top 5 black businesses to look out for,
Yeah.
top 5 cars for, I don't know, relating to Rap City or top 5 raps that you've done. Do you know
I
what
can't
mean?
lie. I can't lie.
There's different
Sick.
ways, but there's
Sick.
channels. When you look at ITV, Channel 4, Channel 5, all of these, one thing you always see is there's not one TV show.
Sick.
There isn't one show that comes on Channel 4 at 9 p.m. on Tuesday and then
that's
there's
it.
nothing else until next week
100%.
Tuesday. There's always something
So
happening.
would
That's
you-
what makes it a fully functioning channel that brands give money to for advertising, and that's how they make
true.
their money. And that's the same thing.
So
with
would
YouTube.
you say you have to? What about those that are just a podcast channel? So for example, like I think Chucky's just podcast, right?
But it's not, because he does the checkup one-on-one
Okay,
chats. He's put
okay.
that on there.
Sick.
And he,
Sick.
to be fair, it is, but he's already doubled up on the content. So he'll do a 2-hour, 3-hour chat and then slice it into the topics
Yeah.
and then put them 3 times a week out like that. And that's just
Yeah.
3 bits of content, even if it is the same content. And then he can break it up with the checkup. Or you could look at someone like Filthy Fellas, a channel like that. Main staple show, Filthy Fellas. Then they got Filthy at 5, which is the debate show. Then they got Specs' No Rule Show podcast. Then they got Poets One Post Show. To me, that's a channel. That is a channel. That's not a YouTube show. That's a channel. I go there. I might not be interested in No Rules, but I'm interested in One Po. I might be interested in No Rules and not interested in One Po. I might only like the
so
staple
true.
show. But there's
So
a channel
true.
there. That's how a Channel 4 is. I don't watch everything on Channel 4, but you know, if Mo the comedian show there or the Big Nasty show, I might tune in for that.
Yeah.
I might not
You
watch
give your
Come
audience
Dine with
more
Me,
to hold
but
on to.
yeah, there's just this.
Yeah,
it's
100%.
just giving it more, and then it just lets brands and advertisers and people know, look, we're a functioning channel over here. Like we pull in this
Listen,
for this and do this for this.
that is
That's
a
more
gem,
trusted
you know.
To me, I follow. I think everyone from the hood knows about this channel now, and it's become a very big channel over the last 6 months. Is Scar City.
Yeah.
Whoever runs Scar City, let me say, first of all, you can't show yourself. Let's be clear about that. Some of the stuff he's been covering.
Ever.
But everyone in the hood is watching, I'm assuming, this Don from Brum.
Yeah,
who's
somewhere
doing it
out
from his
there,
bedroom
yeah,
somewhere.
yeah.
But his
He
channel
sounds like a
has
proper
grown.
geezer as well.
His channel has grown exponentially
Yeah, it's
over
been
the
mad.
last 6 months to a year
It's been
because
mad.
of his level of consistency and what
Yeah.
he's providing. I go on there, he gives little mini docs, 40-minute docs, or he'll just give you updates on
What's going on?
street things that the BBC aren't covering, or he'll give you music updates on the road beef
You know
street
what's
things.
mad?
It's a
How
channel.
You just worded that, bro.
It's a channel, bro.
Even the way you just worded that, he gives you updates that the BBC aren't bringing. Like we have the power, you know.
Bro,
Like,
he
we
says that.
have the power.
He
bro.
highlighted, Scar City, that his channel has overtaken the BBC News channel in terms of subscribers. So he's hit like 190, but the BBC News channel, I know they got bare different channels,
Yeah.
BBC, but BBC News on YouTube has like 160,000. But this independent journalist who's covering things and doing it from his bedroom, wherever he's doing it, his yard, has now got more subscribers. So media's changing, bro. The way we consume
it's
things
changing
changing.
so much.
Like he's letting us know X amount of man got stabbed and this one won't make the statistics because they didn't die and all of it. And then he's speaking a language because he's drawn people in through drill rappers and all of that initially.
His rawness as well.
He's drawn you in through it, and then now he's just covering all kinds of things, like a normal person that's gone to school that's got stabbed or
is
whatever.
he? Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
so
is he?
he's just expanded it, and I look at that and I'm like,
mad, you
that
know.
is the perfect example of new age media, modern
100%.
media. Like
Even the blogs, like as much as like, don't get me wrong, some of the blogs like have a negative connotation, but when you deep it from a brand point of view, they're powerful, bro.
But
Like
they've always been around. They've just changed the platform they use. So before I
Yeah.
used to go on like got a gossip, that grape juice, actual websites.
yeah.
You'd have to type them in to
Yeah,
see
yeah,
them.
yeah.
There was another one, not urban.
yeah, you're right.
or
The
something,
blog
but
thing has been popping before
They
the
just moved
social
it to
media.
Instagram.
Yeah, 100%. But then some of them birthed in Instagram. You made you think you're positive news. You're like whatever
Shout
it
out
may
to
be.
made you think.
Yeah,
massively
100%.
all day. Like, see, even him, yeah. Like even him, for me, shout out to my boy Steve-O, man. Steve the man. He showed me Made You Think like
Yeah.
2.5 years ago. And it had like, I don't know, it had like 60,000, 70,000 followers at the time. But for me, the way he's, because I know some people criticizing, they go, oh, you're not how you was when you originally started, like before you was only enlightening, educational things. But you got to understand, he's grown a business. He's grown it to a point where he has a platform in the music industry now, undeniably.
Facts.
Like
He has
it might
the
not
power
be
to bust an artist.
100%. Like we can't act like some of the most influential people are not following that page
Facts, bro.
and taking in what he's
A&Rs
doing.
are going to Made You Think to see, like, if you don't know this, then be aware of this. If you're an up and coming artist, an A&R is 100% going to Made You Think and seeing what you get there. Another reason I will, and I've never even mentioned it, and I have to, I have paying more respect. Made You Think is actually my guy. Like, in
Oh, you
real
know him?
Yeah. it's
Oh,
actually my
okay,
guy,
all right, cool.
And
I don't think I've met him yet.
to be fair, I was probably one of the first 100 followers that Made You Think because I knew man was make. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it's man's
yeah,
like my actual friend, innit?
Yeah.
Obviously, as time's gone, like we haven't necessarily been as close because it's just lives and stuff.
Live, of
but
course.
seeing the level and the impact, there's always going to be criticism, bro. Like, people definitely criticize his thing as they criticize every blog page. But once you get so much power, I've realized you can't help. Like, even like my Taser episode, yeah, like one of my biggest episodes to date. There was still criticism, like, why didn't you talk about this? Why didn't you talk about that?
course.
Whatever
Part of
happened,
the
there's
game,
going to be
part
that.
and parcel.
But the reason, going back to the point, like, what Made You Think, and even like your positive news in a different sector, and I'm just bait as well. Like, I'm just bait, Abdi TV.
Oh, is your positive news his thing?
No, your positive news someone else. I'm just mentioning
okay,
different
okay,
ones. But they have the power now, bro. Like, if you go to them, if you're a record label, you're gonna put a lot of your budget towards these over what else? Like, over social media ads.
And it's clever, like the way he's done it, in the sense that, like, he's now, because I used to think this was a hindrance, but I look at it now and I'm like, no, it's not. When you are actually putting your genuine thoughts and feelings in captions and stuff like that, you develop the community and the audience more, as if you, instead of
100%.
acting like you're just the page, a robot,
I learned
and
that
just
the hard
going like
way.
that.
With
is it what you
Grow
mean?
Daily, I started Grow Daily before, like, a lot of these blogs. I started Grow Daily like 2017, and I was very much like corporate.
Talking third person instead of talking from a person.
I didn't ever show who was behind it.
Yeah.
I was like, 100%. I was just corporate. Then what I started to realize happened, and I'm glad I got to witness it. I'm humble enough to say I saw it. People took the formula we had, but tweaked it.
Yeah.
And they done better with it. So I started seeing, like, man would, like, I'm not gonna lie, Made You Think probably one of the first, someone correct me, but one of the first to start talking like that, where you can read it and you're thinking, that's my brethren. That's someone talking.
Because I'm seeing other blogs do it now.
Oh,
Like, I'm seeing
100%.
some of the big ones
even
do it.
even the girls' captions, he set the trend on.
Yeah.
Like, raw, like the way he's talking, like my man or this brother or rare. No one was really doing that.
Very
before,
personal,
bro.
and you can feel it.
100%.
And it got to the point where, like, now you'll see, like, everyone knows, like, without even meeting the guy or knowing what he looks like, he's a Chelsea fan.
Yeah.
He likes a particular. He has a type. He has a type. Like, he has this certain views
fact.
on things about snitching and how he carries himself. Like, I feel like I know this guy, but it's a page. And that makes it amazing, because then people will be in the comments arguing with the page, like, bro, you're moving moist today, or bro, that caption's cold, or they feel like they know you, bro, and it makes it such a more personal experience, and it grows the
That was
business.
a shift. You see, like you said, how media shift. That was a shift that I witnessed firsthand. The shift between corporate voices, because even your deliveries and that do it now, where it was like very, very prim and proper. I saw the shift around 2017 to 18, where it was like, be authentic and speak how you would speak, and write what
100%.
you want to write, and say what you want to say, and show your face a bit of your brand if you want to. We don't care. We want to know more about your brand, and then we'll like it more. And when I clocked that shift, I think that's what actually opened the space for me, because I was finding it hard to sit behind and do all of that. Like, I need to be, yo, bam, bam, bam. Like, and if you're not getting that, then we're good. So I think that shift has actually been beneficial, because now you've got, as you say, countless pages that are like, yo, this thing's a Champions League, or rare. You're
mad,
like,
isn't
rah.
it?
It's group chat convo, isn't it? It's group chat conversation.
I think there's I think when you're anonymous, it's easier to get away with that stuff. Though. When you're the face of it, certain things, like, you might come under scrutiny for certain things, and it, like, someone might call you like a toxic masculine individual or whatever.
Gets it.
But for me, I think it's sick, man. I think the way he's developed that page, and it just all, to go bring it all full circle, essentially. There's modern media now.
Yes.
Traditional media don't know how to deal with this.
Yes.
They're shook. They're shook. I'll tell you, they're shook. Man are scrambling in boardrooms right now, like, because they don't know how to contain this and control it and own it, and everything stems back to control. Fuck even money or whatever, because money brings you to control. You know, it's all about power and control. So I think they're sweating right now, and any young up and coming broadcaster, content creator, anyone that works in the digital space, the web, now is just the perfect time to build your own shit before they figure out, I don't know if they will, but they usually do, figure out how to contain all of this and make it a thing. Just get your own. Make sure you build your your fucking empire, your media empire, whatever it is, now's the chance to do it because they've already, remember, these people are richer than us. Unfortunately, to an extent, they're smarter than us because they've got knowledge, years and years of knowledge in this stuff. So I would be ignorant to think that they're not thinking of ways
Facts.
to get ahead and curb all of this, but they haven't figured it out yet. So why they haven't figured it out, make sure you get involved and build your thing, man, before it's too late.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Craig Mitch's Brand Therapy podcast.
Come on.
He just gave you so much game. If you don't sit there, watch this back and take notes and cut your clips, you're mad. That's the game plan, my bro.
My guy, love
on, man.
always, Trist, man. Brand Therapy, love.
Yeah, man, perfect. That was a perfect end.
Nah,
still.
I enjoyed it, bro.
Perfect end.
How long was it?